Hi, I'm Allison Miller, CEO and founder of Happy Camper Live, and we are here at the Raising a Happy Camper podcast. And I'm here with my camp friend. Now you're camp friends with me, Kristina, since you're back on our show. I'm here with Kristina Heagh-Avritt from Vibrant Family Education. I'm super excited to be back here speaking with you.
Thank you, Allison, for having me again today. This is going to be really fun. It's awesome being able to talk to families, talk to parents, kind of give them those tips that really make things a little bit smoother in their life, or the smoother way that we help our kids move through life, right?
Absolutely. And so we're looking, now we're in spring, looking to our kids are going to be off from school soon and going into the summer. And, I think what sometimes you see in the fall, and you can tell me about this, is the results of not sort of planning these smooth transitions. So do you want to kind of start there and like what parents sort of experience in the fall? And then we're going to talk about how to prevent that.
Love that. Yeah, exactly. So, a lot of parents think, oh, summertime is a time to just kind of let everything go, let it be, unscheduled, unscripted, everything that they just kind of want, just relax, right? And then what teachers see, and what I saw many, many times in the fall, was the results of that. Okay. And the results of that is kids coming back in with maybe some backslide in their learning, maybe some communication difficulties, maybe some scheduling difficulties. They can't sleep on a schedule because it's been off all summer long. They aren't ready to do their writing or their reading because they haven't had that brain muscle working all summer long.
Right.
In the fall, it's a new ramp up time that ends up happening because of something that we haven't taken care of in the summer, which is what we're going to talk about more. So parents thinking about, yes, we want to have our beautiful summers and our relaxing summers and things like that, but can you go too far and cause issues in the fall?
Right. Very interesting. So, I wasn't even thinking about sleep. And I think that's really important. I mean, it's a little challenging sometimes. Kids get home from sleepaway camp and that runs on a different schedule, and then the kids are getting up super early to go back to school and things like that. So it's not even like sort of the program time if your kids are at a summer camp or whatever it is that you're on camping trips, but also kind of that cushion between when the program ends and the time you start school, to give yourself and your family some time to kind of, I wouldn't even say get back to normal, but just to readjust and to be more thoughtful in that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And a lot of parents, like I said, don't necessarily realize the impact on their children whenever we have to make those quick changes, right? Those immediate changes from one program or no structure at all to a totally different set of expectations and schedule and routine for fall, for school time.
Yeah. So what would be some things? I mean, the sleep is a good example. You said using their brains, and now they're sort of looking to like be calculating math and reading. Are there things that you could be doing in that transitional period, or during, like, or not even the transitional, just during the whole summer, that you could be doing to support all of this?
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that teachers hear and talk about a lot, is what's called the summer slide. Is
Right.
there really a summer slide? Do our children really kind of fall off a little bit and then have to relearn a bunch when they get back to school? And I was looking up statistics, and actually a child in the summertime can lose up to 20% of their learning, or
Wow.
2 months of school, in drastic situations, right? Or ways where they just really aren't getting it, right? So it's super, super important that we look at this summer slide thing and see what can we do. Like you were just saying, what can we do to just kind of keep those brain cells active,
Right.
those routines and things a little bit in place, so that we don't have as much of a slide. And of course, it's summertime, right? We want to make sure that our kids are having fun, and we have our downtime, and we have our trips and all of those things. So what can you do to not have the summer slide, but still have all of that fun? And that's one of the things I want to talk about today was, reading is a huge one. If you
Yep.
just have your child read during the summer, that is one of the biggest things that keeps them from that summer slide. Because we know that when kids read, guess what? They're usually learning new information, or they're using their imagination and being creative. They're able to talk about things from the story with other people in their life. So they're keeping those communication skills going. They're keeping their reading skills going. And like I said, lots of times they're learning things as well. So reading during the summer is super, super important. One way you can do it is having what I love calling from camp time was Bob time, right? Bodies on bunks or bodies on beds. So every afternoon, or at least 3 or 4 times a week, you have an hour or half an hour, whatever, whatever your child can handle, depending on the age. But quiet time.
Yeah.
They're literally on their bed or in their bedroom or on their bunk, and they just have a book and they're just enjoying some reading time. Now, if your child is a struggling reader, you might need to do it with them, right? So they're really reading. But if they're a reader who loves to read, just set it up. Hey, it's Bob time. Go grab your book, grab your bed, and let's enjoy a book for a while and really get them into that. So that's one of the things that's still fun because it's a little bit different, right? And it gets them reading.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because a lot of camps, overnight camps, have like rest hour after lunch, and they do define like this downtime for the kids. Some camps might be a little more strict about it, and others, they'll say stay on your bed for a certain amount of time, to even just rest, whether it's reading or resting. And then the other half can be dedicated to something that you want to do, write a letter or read a book or play games, with the kids, with the other kids in your cabin. But I was thinking too, like the content of the reading, making it more fun, and having the kid get to choose, because during the school year, the kids don't really get that choice, right?
Exactly. Let them dive into their favorite series or dive into a new learning topic that they're really, really excited about for the summer. Absolutely.
Yeah, and there are a lot of great books that are geared towards summer reading that are not, coming from the school, but they're just fun books about the summer in almost every age range and reading level. You're going to find a really fun series that's summer based, just like there's summer movies, and summer shows that come out. So, kind of exploring a little bit and taking the time to pick out the right books for the summer, I think really helps too. Although I will ask you something, Kristina, there is this pressure. I know I had this with my kids. It's like a summer reading list or requirements from the school. And that sets up like a hard, I don't know, a hard dynamic sometimes with parents. How do you get your kids to read when you're in, and it's like, it's all assigned reading from the school they need to get through?
Yeah, exactly. And, that's been kind of backed off on a little bit, is not happening as much. They've really tried to make it more fun now. So instead, they encourage you to enroll in a reading program. So whether you're going to your public library and doing the public library reading program where there's prizes and things, you get this book done, and then you get to come in and pick a prize out of library, right? Or Scholastic is a huge book selling company, right? And they have a summer program. If you look up summer reading programs online, you can get a full range, and it can be sometimes from even restaurants. So restaurants will say, if you read and you bring me proof, mom and dad sign off that you've read so many books, then you get a free meal from this company or that company. So reading lists can be a lot more fun when you join a reading program.
Right. No, that's really good to know. I mean, my kids are, 22 and 29 now, so I haven't had sort of that required reading list lately, but I do know that the night before school one year was probably the hardest night I ever had dealing with my son, who, still had like half a book to get through, and the stress of all that. Which I think is another point too. If you do have like requirements, even that they read 2 or 3 books this summer and they don't tell you which ones, if there are requirements, don't wait till like the last 2 weeks of the summer, have some sort of pace that you're doing all along so that it doesn't end up with what was one of my, bad mommy moments where I was just like, we're going to finish this. And it's not mine to finish. And that was a big learning thing for me. I was like, you didn't do it. But I think as a parent, I could have supported him better by these check-ins to make sure that he was doing it.
Exactly. And that's part of that whole scheduling and routine. You know, our children are still learning how to schedule and routine. So we have to be a good model, and
Right.
we have to, you know, show them and help them. It's like, this is what needs to be done. Do you want to do it by yourself? Can you do it by yourself? Or do I need to sit down and help you plan out how often we need to be getting this part of the book done or this part of the list done? So absolutely. Yeah. Keep that
Well,
in.
it's really hard because there's some kids that just resist. Like, I don't want to do that right now. I'm on a break from school. I'll get to that. And they're not really procrastinating. They're just asking for some space.
Yeah.
And so, maybe you do need to give your child space, but set up a time where, okay, when we get to, July 15th, that's going to be when we're going to incorporate this into our, daily or weekly routines.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another reason why we want to shift this into being as fun as possible, a little bit offbeat, like the summer reading program that has prizes and things. So another thing that we like to talk about a lot is whenever kids get back to school in the fall, is that they don't like to do the writing. They're like, oh, that I have nothing to write about. Well, guess what? If you've had that writing brain going all summer long in fun ways, so
Right.
for example, you're taking a trip. Awesome. Let's make a journal. Let's document the trip, because there's usually a lot of car time getting to the point and having the fun and then going back, right? So spend some of that time in the car writing and journaling. Oh, I'm looking forward to da 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 da, right? And then at the end, oh yeah, this was the highlight of my day. This was something I really took away and had fun with, right? Writing those letters to friends and grandmas and grandpas. All of these fun writing activities are usually lots of fun because they want to talk about their summer experiences. They want to share those experiences, and it gets that writing going all summer long in a fun way. And so then their handwriting doesn't suffer, or their creativity in their writing, their sentence structure doesn't suffer as much because they've had those experiences throughout the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that is really fun to do with the kids during the summer is for them to make their own journal and decorate it as like an arts and crafts project. And then you can put prompts in it. And the prompts, if you're sending your kid away to sleepaway camp, this is a great thing to do. And sometimes we make these in camps, but the prompts, beginning of the day or end of the day prompts, so that they can fill that out. And not just journaling. And one is just a great habit, but also gives them that experience of writing too.
Exactly. Yeah. And one thing we've talked about lots of times with communication, when you're asking your child about an experience, don't ask the big open-ended question like, how was your day? That's too much for them to think about. Really narrow it down. What was the best part of your day? Or what went well in your day? Or on the opposite, what didn't go so well in your day, and how would you like to make it better next time? So give them more specific questions when you're doing those prompts, and then also get creative. Oh, tell me about something that happened today, and how would you do it in fantasy land or something? Really kind of get those creative going as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do a lot of high lows and haha moments at camp. We try to have the kids start expressing, and then we can learn more about like how things are going for them. And you can do that in a journaling way as well. So so that's great. What else can we do? What else can we do, Kristina?
We can work on math, because guess what? Math is one of those topics and those things that slide away kind of in the summer as well, right? So math, it's time to play those board games. It's time to play cards together. It's time to do anything that does counting and experiencing and problem solving, so that math brain is also engaged, right? So, we have a lot of our children who unfortunately are stuck on electronic devices, right? And there's some awesome games and things on there, but let's take away the electronic devices and sit down and have a family game night or a family game afternoon, right? Let's go to the park and play hide and seek, like when they were little itty bitty ones, when they were bigger, just something fun and exciting. Because if you think about it, if you're an older person playing hide and seek, you put a little more thought into it, right? You're like, ooh, where would be the trickiest place that I could hide that nobody would be able to find me, kind of thing, right? So there's so many things that we can do to engage that math brain. Games, counting, board games, hide and seek, walks, even calculating like distances and stuff. Oh, we're going on this trip.
Yes.
How far is it? How much gas do we need? Especially if your child is one that's like into the car and the driving and things like that, right? We can be counting the signs, we can counting license plates, we can be looking at so many different things that help that math brain engage, even though we're on summer vacation.
Yeah, those are some really great suggestions. And also, I was thinking like what's really fun at camp are scavenger hunts. And sometimes you can create like a number scavenger hunt. You need to get five, five of these and five of that, and whatever that is, which I think gets kids, learning and also calculating scores, so even learning tennis, and learning how to score in tennis, which is different, or football. And like, it's interesting, but like some kids have no idea how to score that. So that keeps them going. And then, every time you are playing tennis and you're being physical, you're also, using your brain to keep the score.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we want to do. Again, it's kind of sneaky, right? You're sneaking to all of this fun. And that's one of the things that, I love talking to parents about. They're like, oh, well, my child doesn't like to do this. Like, awesome. Let's do it this way instead and kind of sneak it in. So the kitchen is another great place where the brain has to get going when they're following a recipe, when they're measuring things out, all of those different conversions and things that could happen. So especially with your older children, right? The cooking, the baking, the measuring, all of that kind of stuff is really super cool because you can really get them thinking about, sneak in there. Oh, we're going to double the recipe. So what does that mean? Oh, wait, I'm not just following what's here. I have to do 2 of everything, or I have to actually convert it, right? Again, you're sneaking in that learning, even though you're having fun.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing. Cooking is fabulous. And like being able to, find the recipes and like you said, double them, or even like one and a half. Like, so how many are we? And, so it's 8 people for the barbecue. Okay, so we're gonna have to do like, one and a half, which makes it even more complicated. So I think that is a very smart, sneaky way to to get our kids' brains fired up. Yeah.
Exactly. One thing that I was talking about with my families this last summer was themes, right? If each week you kind of do a family theme, so maybe they can't go to camp, maybe they can't take a big vacation, but what if you just switched up the theme in the household? This week is going to be beach week, and you pretend you're at the beach. You get out your flip-flops, you get out your towels, all those kinds of things. And then there's always things that kind of fall into that. Well, what would we pack for a picnic if we went to the beach? Awesome, let's pack that picnic and just go sit in the grass in the backyard if we need to, right? So taking those themes and really kind of building in a little bit of learning around those themes. So like you were saying about sports, right? Oh, it's going to be sports week. Awesome. All week long, let's learn about 3 new sports and maybe even play those or a modified version of those in our backyard if we can't get out and away from our house. So, these don't have to be big, expensive things. These can be things that can happen right in your home with the things that you have, but still make it fun and exciting by using that imagination and building that theme experience.
Well, I'm definitely gonna do a little plug here for Happy Camper Live. I feel like I can't resist. But everything we have is for kids to learn at home and to watch, learn, and go do. And you and your kids can learn too. So anything from magic, like everybody learns a magic trick, or you learn the child learns a magic trick and they can put on a magic show. And if you wanted to do a sports week, literally one day could be soccer. We have lacrosse. We even have ice hockey. Like we have every sport, basketball, everything you can imagine. And then you can actually put together a sports week, cooking, where they're learning all these recipes. All of this stuff is on a Happy Camper Live, and it's taught by fun camp counselors, which makes it even better. So we do give, parents a lot of resources to take the pressure of them, take the pressure off of them to be the camp counselor. Let our camp counselors be the camp counselors, but then you can participate in the experience as a family.
Yeah, that is wonderful. That is so awesome, because like a lot of parents are like, well, I would love to do that, but I don't know where to go find, or I don't have the time to go find. So you just gave them those resources to help make it easier and still make it fun. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know how to teach. You don't have to be everything. It's like sometimes the math in school gets super hard and you're like, oh, I don't know. This is out of my wheelhouse a little bit, but we do make it easier for everybody through Happy Camper. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where Vibrant Family Education comes in as well. We are here to help coach the parents along and help them through those stuck points, right? When you don't know what to do with your kiddo, even though you are the first best teacher for your kiddo, everybody needs a coach in something. If you're a business person, you get a coach. If you're a sports person, you get a coach. If you're a parent, guess what? It's okay to maybe get a coach and get a little bit of help on those places where you get stuck.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people will appreciate all of the tips that you're giving them, Kristina. They should, because I think it's all preventative. And like you said, you come back, school's stressful enough. It's a new classroom. It's maybe a new school, maybe, transitioning from grade school to a middle school. All of these things are happening in a very short period of time. And and school starts, like they go, full mode. Like those teachers are ready to come back and they expect your kid to be ready. And if they're not in the right framework or state of mind for that, and they're lagging behind at the start, it can create these issues that maybe start showing up a month into school. And you're sitting there going, oh, I wish I had done, and we don't want you to should yourselves, but we want you to be able to look ahead and see that a lot of this is preventative.
And one last thing I want to talk about with that summer slide is routines and schedules, because remember, our kids are super dependent on routines and schedules, because when they feel safe in their routine and their schedule, then they are more adventurous. They are ready to learn something new or try something new because they know they have something to fall back on, or they know they have a framework. So even though summer is kind of let down, release some of those routines and schedules, at least 2 weeks before school starts, start sliding some of those things back in, right? Making sure that, in the fall, I want to make sure that we have homework time at this time. Gently start putting it in, or start talking about it. When school starts in a couple of weeks, we're going to start doing homework at this time, right? Or don't forget, we have this really awesome bedtime routine when school is in session. We're not doing it right now because we're taking a break, right? But when school is in session, this bedtime routine helps us with good sleep, makes us ready for the next day, helps make us feel awake and alive and ready to learn. So explain those things as you're putting them in place, instead of just saying you have to do it. Help your children understand, why do we have these routines and schedules? Not only does it help you feel safe and secure, it helps us be ready for A, B, and C.
Well, I think that applies to teens as well. And I think parents are, very hesitant to start managing their kids' sleep routines, bedtime routines, when they're dealing with like 14, 15, 16 year olds, and they but a lot of kids are, if you ask, they have phones next to their beds. Oh, I just use it for an alarm. They've got, they stay up late, they're answering texts, they're doing a lot of things. And also schools tend to, cater to their budgets, not to the children. So you might have like transportation that's getting your kids to school at like 6:37 a.m., and they're going to bed, they're a teenager going to bed at, 11 to 12 o'clock, right? And not getting the kind of sleep that they need. And I talk to the kids as they're re-entering, I call it, the world at the end of the summer, saying, you get to choose for yourself. Like, what do you want your routine to look like? And so that conversation to have with your teenager, I think, is really important. The other budget thing is lunch. Some schools have lunch at 10:30 a.m. because that's the way they need to run the program and deal with all the classes that with the kids they have to have. And so there you are, and you're trying to figure out, well, my kid's eating lunch at 10:30, but they're not getting home till 2:30, 3 o'clock, and they're not eating in a proper normal way, which they just wouldn't do, outside of like those school budget, issues. So
Exactly.
I think that's really important too, is just to know that like you've got to do your own thinking about the times and not let your kid just kind of run with that or let the school dictate what is, best, because they are not looking at, I'm sorry, I was just a bit of a pedestal I stand on it or whatever. It's like they're not looking out for our kids' best interest in that.
Yeah. I mean, they have so many moving parts, just like a huge corporation, right? There's so many moving parts that there's sometimes that they don't have a lot of leeway or schedule flexibility, right? So what can you and your family do to empower your student if they're in that situation, right? Can they take a snack? Can they eat something in the hallway between classes? Can they have a smoothie or a drink or something with them that is, allowable? So helps them keep those blood sugars in check.
Right.
Like we talked about before, because guess what? If we don't have our blood sugars in check, we don't have our emotions in check, we don't have a lot of things in check that help make our days go better.
Yeah. And the food part of the day is so critical. And like you said, the blood sugars and managing that. And I definitely find that is a hard transition for kids leaving summer camp. Is so structured. We eat our meals literally the same time every single day, snack time. Everybody knows what to expect, and our bodies get used to it, which is great. But then the kids go home and the school year is just like a whole different, schedule. And for the older kids, I think the parents are just not looking to sort of push back on that. But I think that's an area that when I know kids that do have bedtimes that are older, they get better grades. They're less moody. They are more social, because they have the energy for all of that.
Exactly. Do your research. If you go and look, it's amazing that a recent research I just read was that teenagers actually need more sleep than toddlers sometimes because of their body changes and things. And think about toddlers and little ones. They're sleeping 10 hours a day, right? And sometimes our teenagers need almost that same amount. So they're not getting it if they're staying up late, playing games, texting and things. So, do the research and explain, show the students, show your teenagers, they don't do well with, I told you so. We know that, but let's show them, let's give them the experience, give them the learning, let them go look for it themselves. Like, go look this up for me, right? And then let them kind of come around to, oh, I know why I have to do this now, or I know what's going to be best for me now. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, this was great. I mean, I think, like I said, being able to be prepared going into the summer, which really is just a fantastic time of the year. And, we want our kids to just enjoy the time, the space, and feel that freedom. It is so important. And Kristina, you really added this little thread, right, to keep in mind so that we are coming out of it in a way that sets our kids up for success.
Exactly. That's the thing. Happy, healthy, successful kids. That's what we want.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Anything else you want to add?
Not really. It's just that, if I've been helpful, if this has been great, then, follow me on Facebook, Kristina Heagh-Avritt. You can come find me and find Vibrant Family Education over there.
Let's do that again. So, okay, so that you can get the whole name out one more time and they'll edit it. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add, Kristina, or tell our viewers?
Well, if I've been able to add some value to you and your families, please follow me over on Facebook at Kristina Heagh-Avritt, and also find Vibrant Family Education.
Absolutely. Well, it's not if I've been helpful. You have been helpful. So I got a lot out of it, and I know our viewers have gotten a lot out of it too. So Kristina, thank you for being here at the Happy Camper podcast, raising a happy camper. We all have the same mission in mind, which is why I love having guests like you on our show. So thank you for being here. And no summer slides for our visitors, our viewers, I should say, right?
Sounds great. Sounds like a good idea to me.
Thank you.
Take a moment to shine.